This is the Man in a Room podcast.
Test. Level.
This is Man in a Room. It is a podcast. Listening to Man in a Room.
Hello and thank you for joining me for this episode of Man in a Room. How is it going? How has your week been? I'm intrigued. Oh, it's not going very well. I'm sorry about that. Hopefully it will get better. You know, it will. And you know what? I've got my tarot cards all ready, and that'll be coming up in a bit. Give them a quick shuffle now. You know, just picking up the vibes of how you're feeling. Right, let's go. Let's shuffle them. Let's get this all ready to go. You know, got my teas all there, a brewing as well. So it's going well. So anyway, I want to just talk about something real quick actually, because it was just really, really funny. So basically, there was news going around that Neil Buchanan, children's TV presenter Neil Buchanan, famous for television show Art Attack, where every week he would make stuff and show kids how to do it. But he always did it with stuff that you didn't have around the house. Like, all you need to do is get a balloon. Okay, I might have a balloon. And you get some tissue paper or some kitchen roll. Yeah, I've got that. Excellent. Going well. And some PVA glue. It's always PVA glue. Oh, you need PVA glue with this to make this. Oh, you need PVA glue. Everything he made, you needed PVA glue. And do you know why? Because he was sponsored by a company that made PVA glue. I'm not even joking. It's product placement for PVA glue, turns out. But anyway, I used to watch him as a kid a lot. Like, I used to religiously be like, yay, Art Attack is on, all that kind of stuff, you know. And it was really good. I actually remember he was on another TV show when I was a kid also, called Zap, with 2 Z's. And so basically it's just a comic strip, and there'd be like this character called Artie. I want to say Artie. I think it's Artie something, or Artie Farty or something like that. Is this silent thing, like a silent movie, but basically like him like drawing stuff and it coming to life and all this kind of stuff, you know. And I remember later on also that he was in a band. It's like, this is obviously years and years and years after Art Attack had finished and all that kind of thing, and it's suddenly like, oh, Neil Buchanan is back. He's now in a rock and roll group. Look at him go. I wonder if he designed the logo. I'm going to guess that he probably did. And yeah, and so basically just one of those sort of people, just fell into obscurity, because oh, it's Neil Buchanan, how cool is that? There he is, good old Neil, yeah. But the thing was, recently there has been rumours circulating around the internet that Neil Buchanan, as I said, fabled TV show for kids presenter, was actually Banksy. Who's Banksy? Nobody knows. Nobody knows who Banksy is. It's probably a guy called Robin Banks, but we'll just pretend that that isn't the case, and we'll say, yes, Neil Buchanan is Banksy, because the idea of that is actually quite funny. The idea that Neil Buchanan might have been teaching Banksy how to do stuff on Art Attack is also quite funny when you think about it. Like the stenciling, all that kind of stuff, you know. He maybe saw Neil Buchanan doing that on TV, on his TV show one day, and he probably thought, oh, I could make a rat, and I could stencil it around the place, and it'd be like really funny because I can be like really quick and all that kind of stuff, you know. And then I can cover it in PVA glue, and it'll be fun. It'll last forever. But by the time he always gets to the PVA glue part, the fuzz are on his back, so he has to escape quickly, and all that kind of stuff. And the funny thing is, though, what is quite amusing about the whole idea of Neil Buchanan possibly being world famous graffiti artist Banksy is that he denied it. He says, no, I'm not Banksy. So, you know, drop that right now. Now, the thing is about Banksy is a mystery. Probably some guy called Robin Banks, but Banksy is a mystery. Although people have said on numerous times it's this guy called Robin Banks. No one knows who Banksy is. And so anyone who is accused of being Banksy is going to deny it. So Neil Buchanan denying that he's Banksy makes me want to believe that he's Banksy even more. How funny would that be? Art Attack's Neil Buchanan is Banksy. Who would have thought it? I wonder if Banksy will be like, no, it's not. No, I'm. If Banksy comes out and basically just says that, no, I'm not Neil Buchanan, that'd be funny. But yeah, I do like a bit of Banksy. I can't lie. I do like it. I do like his artwork or her artwork. We don't know. It could be a collective. I doubt it. But yeah, it's the idea of not knowing who Banksy is, even though everyone knows it's Robin Banks. But yeah, anyway, unless that's one of the red herrings, because Banksy, Robin Banks, like he's robbing a bank. Yeah, crazy. But it's not impossible to be called Robin Banks, because the old story of someone called Annette Curtin. Yeah. Or obviously all those Bond people who have funny names like Pussy Galore, But anyway, I digress. I've talked about a lot of nonsense then. I'm sorry. I think, actually, looking at that, I think it is time for Tarot and Tea. It's a beverage and divinity. Ooh. Yeah, so we've got, gonna just have a quick sip of the old tea. This tea today was provided to me by a friend. So basically they bought this tea and were all like, I don't like this. You might. So they're giving it to me to try. So, ooh, it does taste like what it says it is. Considerably, actually. Sorry. So basically, this is Asda's own brand rhubarb and custard tea. Tangy and creamy infusion. Now, the thing is, when it comes to that, is how on earth have you infused custard in a tea bag? I'm intrigued. So, the ingredients are as follows. Hibiscus, apple pomace, sweet blackberry leaves, flavourings, just flavourings, no detail on the flavourings, rose hips, rhubarb vanilla powder, that's a bit weird, putting powder in there, and acidity regulator. I understand about the acidity regulator because there's a reason why rhubarb is called makes your poo barb, because of all the acid, makes your guts all curdle, and so then you have a bad tummy. So yeah, it's quite bitter. I've not put enough in there, but it does taste like rhubarb and custard sweets, just less sweet. Not too sure what I think about that. It's okay, it does the job. So yeah, let's shuffle the old cards. So the way this is going to work is I'm going to draw 3 cards. This is a 3-card reading. And I've got a couple of messages saying to me about how I'm not taking it that seriously and that kind of stuff. I mean, I am looking into the actual meanings of these cards, but there's so many of them, And, yeah. So anyway, I'm going to draw 3 cards. So I'm going to do the past. So we've got here the 9 of Wands. The 9 of Wands. So this gentleman here is standing there and he's holding these wands. And there's 9 of them. But he's holding one of them. So basically he's looking after one. So if you've had to basically look after one thing of your collection, basically cover one thing specifically, if that's what you've been doing, like you've been, I don't know, finding something special, finding the wheat in the chaff, as it were. If you finally worked out that you've managed to focus on this one wand or one thing, this reading's for you. If you've pared everything down, you're like, yeah, this is what is for me, and then we've got a picture of an old lady and a man with some crutches, and they are walking by a church, and in the stained glass there's 5 pentacles. So basically, it's the 5 of Pentacles. That's what that is. And so basically, so what could that mean? The present is basically, you're doing your best to just get on with your life. There's all this grandeur around you, and you're like, yeah, no matter what, nothing's going to hold me back. So basically, that's how that is. Nothing's going to hold you back. Not even a stained glass window. Not a man with some crutches. Unless you are the man with the crutches, I don't know. Maybe you've broken your leg, and this person has got one broken leg. It does seem so. Maybe you're not the old woman. Maybe you're the man with the crutches, but you're still keeping up. So you managed to pare down what you're doing, and you're even with a broken foot, you're just getting on with life. And then we've got the 4 of Pentacles. Okay. So this is basically a picture of a man wearing pentacles as shoes, wearing one as a hat, and basically just holding up a pentacle like, yeah, look at me and my pentacles. So in the future, although you may have pared down what you've, your meaning or whatever, you then have got, you've discovered something new with pentacles. Like, yeah, look at me and my pentacles. Oh, yeah. And, don't be like that. There's no need for that. No need to be cocky with all the pentacles, because, you're window shopping, because the man on the crutches on the second card is looking at the pentacles, and you may have not got all the pentacles. You've only got 4 of the 5, but still, doesn't mean that you should look for the next pentacle. So basically, all I'm saying is that if you're currently looking for a new thing to collect or cover or become obsessed about, don't worry about not having the full set, because you may have got rid of 8 of your possessions and kept 1. There's 5 on offer, but you've only got 4. If that makes any sense to you, that was for you. So that has been Tarot and Tea. It's a beverage and divinity. So yeah, thanks for that. Thanks for joining me for that bit. I'll be back after this very short break. I'm going to drink the rest of this tea, even though it's quite bitter to the taste, and not really a big fan. So anyway, speak to you after this.
If you have any thoughts, comments, or questions, please do not hesitate to send them to show@maninaroom.co.uk.
So I'm one of those people that like to use the local library, because it's one of those things that if you don't use it, you will lose it. Libraries are very important. They're a good way of getting books and knowledge for free. And, it's a good, if you don't use them, they won't get funding. That's how that works. So make sure if you have a library nearby that you use it. Yeah. If you don't know what a library is, it's basically a massive building with lots of books in it that you can borrow for free. It is okay because they have your name and address. And if you don't give them back, they will fine you and all that kind of stuff, which I think anyone who lets a library fine escalate to the point where it's over the price of a book is crazy. Just go out and buy the book, yeah? But anyway, some, advocate of making sure that you return it on time. 3 weeks is plenty of time to read a book. If you haven't read it in 3 weeks, then that's on you. You can renew it if you want, but is there any need to, if you've not read it in those 3 weeks? Anyway, I like libraries because they do get you a lot of access to stuff that you wouldn't usually get. But the problem is that it's sometimes quite difficult to try and work out where something is that you're looking for specifically. As a general rule, the books are about philosophy and all that kind of thing, and usually it's in the philosophy section, so it's actually quite simple. But sometimes I want to read a bit of fiction, you see. And I don't know if you're familiar with the author Terry Pratchett. I've only recently got into him, after he died. And I don't know much about his work and all that kind of stuff. So looking for Terry Pratchett is quite difficult in a library because it can be in a multitude of places. It can be in science fiction. It could be in fantasy. The one I was looking for specifically is more science fiction. And he actually co-wrote it with someone because he was actually... I think he was terminally ill. And I think he was losing a lot of his brain function. And so... to make sure the story is being told, he had someone to co-write it with him. And so, it's like, is it under that person's name, Stephen Baxter, or is it under Terry Pratchett? Is it in the science fiction section? Is it in the fantasy section? Which, is it even in here? Like, is the book I'm looking for actually in here? I just don't know. And, there's all these different kinds of bits and pieces, because also the word Pratchett is actually quite difficult to spell if you don't know how to spell it. Like most things in life, if you don't know how to do something, it's actually quite difficult. But, so what I had to do, I had to find someone who works there. Now, people who work in libraries, they are good people, but my local library tends to be a little bit dismissive of people. Like, what are you talking to me for? There's a computer over there. It's all alphabetized. They don't like people talking to them very much. They don't like helping people that much. I would say most of them are quite friendly, but there's a few unfriendly ones in there. Especially this lady I'm about to tell you about. So, I was looking for this Terry Pratchett book. It was called The Long Earth, in case you're wondering. In case you're following the story, it's The Long Earth. And it's a good book, actually. I've actually read them all now. But anyway, It's actually massive. Like, I think it's like 4 or 5 books. Doesn't matter. I was looking for Terry Pratchett, The Long Earth, co-written with Stephen Baxter, and I couldn't find it. So the system said that it had, I looked on the computer, it said they had it, but I couldn't find where it was, because I'm a bit of an idiot, you see. So I said, I can't find this book. It says you've got it, but I can't find it. It says Terry Pratchett and Stephen Baxter's The Long Earth. Sort of like looked at me and sighed. And I was like, okay, fine, whatever. And it's quite hot that day as well, because a massive room full of books is basically more insulation. So basically it gets quite warm inside libraries, I find anyway, especially the one I go to. And so this lady had a fan on her. It's like one of those, what they call oscillating fans. It's a fun word to say, isn't it? Oscillate. So it's this oscillating fan which occasionally kept like blowing on me and blowing on her, all that kind of stuff. And, I started to smell her perfume. It's like, oh, that wasn't something I was going in for, but there we are. I can now smell what this librarian smells like. The smell of librarian. Yeah. So anyway, she's like, well, have you looked in the fantasy section? I said, well, I've looked there and the science fiction section, but I can't find out where it would be. So she then turned around to look on her computer to see what's going on, and I noticed something. So it was like a hair was dangling from her top. I was like, that's a bit strange. I that's not getting blown, because it's blowing in the breeze, you see, because of the oscillating fan. And then I noticed that it was tied to something. This hair, that is just one random hair, was actually tied to something. And it's actually, I don't know if you're familiar with this, or what skin tags are. So what a skin tag is, you may have one. I've got one on my neck. So basically what it is basically just like a bit of skin that basically just grows, and it's just there, and it just sort of, it's just like, I don't know, it's just a skin tag. That's what I can describe it as. Like, there's just a bit of skin that is attached to your skin. It serves no purpose, and there's an old wives' tale that you basically tie a horse's hair around it, and everything will be fine. It'll just go black, and it'll drop off. And that was what was going on. And I was like, that is a skin tag that is turned black, and has a hair, I'm assuming a horse's hair tied around it. And the horse's hair is now getting blown in the air, along with the smell of this librarian's perfume. And I was all like, what is going on? I came in today to look for Terry Pratchett and Stephen Baxter's The Long Earth. Instead, I got treated to the idea, the waft of a lady with a horse's hair tied around a blackened skin tag. And I was like, what is happening to my life? Like, is this really what was supposed to be happening? Are all these decisions I've made in my life, what side of the road I was walking down, what buses that I've got in the past, decisions about dropping out of college, doing these bits and pieces, all these decisions, these large life decisions that I've made have come to this one point, like a laser focus on me smelling a horse head tied skin tag woman. And I was like, really? This is all these decisions have come up to this one point, and it's just one of those moments where you think to yourself, well, I suppose it's not that bad. At least I haven't got the skin tag and all that kind of stuff, and the horse's hair tied around it. And so she turned back around again. I thought, I'm not going to mention it. But then when she turned around, I could see that I was then drawn attention to the hair kept sort of like just popping out from behind her back, like it's playing hide and seek with me. And I found the book. She helped me. She helped me find the book. I got it. It's very good, and I recommend it highly. So yeah. Anyway, just waffling on there. So anyway, thank you for joining me for this episode. I'll be back again next week. So yeah, thank you for joining me, and yeah, peace out.
Who is the man? Where is the room? It's some guy you've never heard of, in a room you've never been in. For more information, head over to maninaroom.co.uk.